start with the lecture. This is our second part of the this course Chem 170. Now we are going to discuss the different states of the matter. The first is the gas, then we move to the liquid and the solids. And some of the very important aspect we will cover in these three physical states of the matter. So again, this is a 100 level course, and I will try to update your knowledge with the different way of the expression. How can we discuss some laws under the gaseous system, liquid, or the solid systems? But today we are going to discuss these three different states, and these are the physical states of the matter, and which are the solid, liquid, and the gas. And right now we are going to discuss the phase changes. That mean one of the phase is going to change to the other one. So these are the very briefly it is written over here, like if the solid ice melt into the liquid water, or the liquid water freezes to the solid ice, or evaporate to the gaseous system, gaseous steam condensed to the liquid water. Such process actually which are transformed from one form to the other form, these are called the phase changes. So phase is going to change, and also you can change it the changes of the state of the matter, which are the solid, liquid, and the gases. So briefly, you already might be know about these different phases which are going to change. If it changes from solid to liquid, that is called the melting. And you can remember just a melting of ice, because ice is a solid converted into the liquid, that is called the melting. And the reverse of this one is called the freezing, when again the liquid is turned to the solid. And this is also general phenomena you are using to freeze the water which turns to the ice. That is, this process is called the freezing. And second, these two processes alternative to each other are called the evaporation or vaporization. Vaporization is when liquid turns to the gases. Again, when water is converted into the steam, this process is called the vaporization. And the reverse of this one is called the condensation, when the steam is converted into the liquid, and that means the gas is converted into the liquid. This process is called the condensation, and this is also general phenomena happening during the fall of rain. And when the rain start, that means your the gaseous system, or the water present in the steam or in the vaporization, this is going to be condensed and converted into the liquid, and that process is called the condensation. Actually, these are the four main. And one is the if solid is directly converted into the gas. Here, this is a solid first turned to the liquid, and liquid to the gas. If this solid directly is converted into the gas, and then this process is called the sublimation. And reverse to the sublimation is called the deposition, when gas is converted into the solid. So these are the actually the basic uh, in which the one state of matter is converted into the other state of matter. But now, what is the to update this knowledge up to your level, that means Chem 170. So I'm going to discuss the reason behind this one. Actually, why there is the change in the state of the matter. Solid is converted into the liquid, or it is the freezing vaporization. And this is the first one is called the reason behind this one is the change. Actually, I am going to explain all these processes with the two processes, or with the two energies. One is called the change in enthalpy, and change in enthalpy is the amount that is evolved or absorbed. So this may be energy released or energy absorbed in a chemical reaction at constant pressure. This is called the enthalpy change. So you can easily remember, if energy is being absorbed or is released, that energy is called the change in enthalpy. And we can represent with the delta H, and we called it is delta H. And this may have the positive value or the negative value. So if the value is positive, that means energy is absorbed. And if this value is negative, that means energy is evolved or energy is released. And this is very important to explain this one phenomenon. And the second energy is the entropy. This is also the form of the energy, but the way of the expression is different. And the entropy is the measure of disorderness or the randomness. In the thermodynamics, we will discuss this in detail, but here I am going to explain in a very simple way actually what are the reasons behind this phase changes by using these two terminology. And again, the entropy is the measure of disorderness or the randomness. So if it is the positive value, similar to the value what we have with the delta H, and if the value of entropy change is positive, that means there is increase in the randomness. And all spontaneous changes occur with the increase in entropy of the universe. Like if there is any of the process is happening with the increase in entropy, that means this is the spontaneous reaction. And in contrary to the positive sign, if the change in entropy is having the minus sign, that means it is converted into the more ordered form. That means reverse to this phenomenon, it is randomness is decreases. So when randomness decreases or the system is more order form, that means this is the non-spontaneous change. So again, now I'm going to conclude over here. If the sign of delta H is positive, that means energy is absorbed. Positive sign is energy is absorbed, then this is the non-spontaneous process. So when is the energy, the sign of delta H is minus, or you can say when the energy is released, then this is the spontaneous way. And here, when the entropy is positive, that means this is the spontaneous change. And when the entropy is negative, that is the non-spontaneous change. So enthalpy and entropy are playing role for the conversion of these different phase changes. So now looking at the second diagram, here the reason is described. The first, have a look on the when this solid is converted into the liquid. So again, if this solid is converted into the liquid, this process is called the melting, or you can call it the fusion is one of the other name alternative to the melting, but you can remember with the melting as we have explained in the previous slide. So a solid is converted into the liquid. This is called the melting. Now look at the sign. Actually, this is the way you have to describe. Whenever I ask, okay, what are happening? What are the change in the state from solid to liquid? What is the reason behind this? So up to your knowledge, as taught in this lecture, you have to explain by using these two terms. First, you have to define what is the delta H and what is the delta S, change in enthalpy or change in entropy. So look at this one. When the solid is converted into the liquid, that means this is having a more energy. Energy is required. That means when the sign, again remember what we have discussed before, when the that H is greater than 0, that means that H is having a sign in positive. That means when the sign is positive, then energy is absorbed. So with the when the solid is converted into the liquid, then the energy is absorbed. So the sign of the delta H would be greater than 0. So this is the reason behind this one. So the second reason is, so what would be the change in entropy? Again, the solid are in more order form. When they are converted into the liquid, they are in more random form. So the randomness is increased when solid is converted into the liquid. So that's why change in entropy is having the positive sign. It is greater than zero. So this is the reason. So if you look at the reverse order, when liquid is converted into the solid, and this process is called the freezing. And what is the reason? Now, how let's suppose the ice is going to converted into the solid, or it is the liquid is converted into the ice. That is called the freezing. When you release the heat out of the liquid, and the freezer actually is being used to for this process to release the heat out of the liquid. When the heat is released or evolved, then the liquid becomes solid, and this is due to the release of the heat. So the sign of the delta H would be less than zero. Again, the sign of the delta S would be less than 0, or you can say this is the minus. Why? Because this is in more order form, disorder form. Solid is more order form. So when it is converted from liquid to the solid, randomness is decreased. So decreased mean the sign of delta S would be minus. So you can also remember the sign by the increase or the decrease. When there is increase, the sign would be the positive. When there is decrease, the sign would be the negative. So this is the reason. Now you can explain why the in what is happening in case of the freezing. Actually, energy is evolved, randomness is decreased. That's why the liquid is converted into the solid. So I have explained you the two reasons. You have to explain in a similar way. Again, if you have understood this phenomena, you can easily explain or understand the rest of the four phenomena. In a similar way, you have to give the reason. So in shortly, I am just repeating over here. Now the liquid is converted into a gas, and this process is called the vaporization. And this is only converted into the gas when you provide the heat. So delta H must be greater than zero. And of course, when the liquid is converted into the gas, there is more randomness in gas as compared to the liquid. So randomness is increased. That's why the sign of the delta S must be greater than zero. That means having the positive sign. And the reverse of this one, gas is converted into liquid. This process is called the condensation. And the reason behind this one, because here when the gas is converted into liquid, heat is evolved or heat is released out of the system, and the system here is the gas. So the sign of delta S will be minus. And of course, when gas, it is in more random form. When it's converted into the liquid, it is converted as a more order form. So the randomness is decreased. That's why the sign of delta S is less than zero, or it is having the minus sign. So these two processes are left. When solid is converted into the gas, that means now you need more energy. Energy may be equivalent to the sum of the energy of this and this system, or maybe more than this one, to convert directly the solid into the gas. And this process is called the sublimation. And again, of course, solid will only be converted into the gas when you provide the heat. And when you provide the heat, it is converted into the gas. Then the entropy of the gas is more as compared to the solid. That's why this is having the positive sign or greater than zero. And the reverse phenomena is called the deposition. And this process will only happen when when you evolve the heat or release the energy out of the gas. And when you evolve the heat or release the heat, the gas molecules comes together, join together to form the solid. And that means heat is released having these delta H must be less than zero. And when gas is in the more disordered form, converted into the solid, That means in more order form, that means change in entropy is decrease. Change in entropy is decrease mean it must be less than zero. So this is all about the phase changes or the state of the matter changes from one form to another form. And in this lecture, I have only described the reason behind this one, the phenomena, what is happening, and what is the reason uh, for the conversion of one state of matter to another state of matter. And the reasons are the change in enthalpy and the change in entropy.